W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of The Lost Queen, The Surprising Life of Catherine of Braganza, Britain's Forgotten Monarch, by Sophie Shorland, narrated by Ruth Lass. Prologue. When Queen Catherine of Braganza entered London for the first time in May 1662, knots of people formed in the city's twisting medieval streets, jostling to catch sight of their new queen. It was overwhelming and hot, and she stood stiffly, looking a little like a doll. She didn't speak a word of English, but nobody minded that. An effusion of terrible but joyous poetry followed in her wake, celebrating her recent marriage to Charles II, himself newly restored as king after the tumult of the Civil War and then Oliver Cromwell's protectorate. Catherine would be England's Restoration Queen. Although the Restoration is frequently ignored in favour of its more famous relative, the Tudors, the period is generally associated with hedonism, flirtation, silks, heavy drinking, and finally the human embodiment of all these things, the merry monarch Charles II himself. It has given us the poetry of John Wilmot, Earl of Rochester, whose favourite rhyming couplet involved arse and tarse, penis. It was a time of great scientific discovery, of invention, and the relatively early days of colonialism. Following the killjoy parliamentarian era and the protectorate, Charles's reign has usually been associated with fun, at least on stage and screen. The return of the royalists unleashed female actors on stage for the first time, wearing scandalously tight breeches or hiking their skirts up to reveal a shocking amount of leg. Dancing and Christmas were allowed again. Of course, history is always more complicated than that. Opera actually flourished in Cromwell's reign, but we will leave the nuances of this debate for another book. What concerns us is a shadowy figure at the edge of this hedonistic tale of the Restoration. She was present at a meeting with famous architect Christopher Wren after the Great Fire of London had destroyed the city. She was observing the sky, just as Isaac Newton was trying to work out Earth's place in the solar system and how exactly meteors worked. In one way or another, she was present for every great event of Charles's reign. But in history, she has remained a spectre in the background. Her story has effectively been lost. For the last 350 years or so, the very mentions of Catherine have placed her reputation at rock bottom.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?